Let's refine it further. Let's refine it further.
We'll make it mad, we lead the way. In the reptile world, we're here to stay. Double clutch, where passion meets. From the start to the top, we can't be beat. Double clutch, we're Mike and Matt. Double clutch, it's where it's at. Double clutch, we lead the pack. Double clutch, always on track. Double clutch with Mike and Matt. Double clutch, it's where it's at. Double clutch, we lead the pack. Double clutch, always on track.
Let's refine it further.
We Mike and Matt, lead the way.
Let's refine it further.
We're here to stay. Double clutch, we lead the pack. Double clutch, always on track. Double clutch, we lead the pack. Double clutch, always on track. Double clutch, with Mike and Matt. Double clutch, it's where it's at. Double clutch, we lead the pack. Double clutch, always on track.
Let's refine it further. Let's refine it further.
Always on track. We'll make it back. With the clutch, double clutch, we lead the pack. Double clutch, always on track. Double clutch, we lead the pack. Double clutch, always on track.
Yo, what up?
What's happening?
Chilling, man. Appreciate y'all hopping on at the last minute. Not sure what's going on. We were supposed to have Dave, but I hadn't heard from him, so I hope everything's okay. Definitely not like him. He actually said he ran late with the customer. He just sent a text, so he might slide through here in a little bit, man. But sorry for keeping y'all waiting, but definitely glad to be live, man.
Yeah, man. Nah, when you sent the message, I was like, oh, shoot, let me hop on. I was pulling into the driveway, so I was like, shoot, I'll hop on here real quick, shoot the breeze, talk about whatever, you know what I'm saying? And then hopefully David come in here and, you know, get that Tinley recap. Because I know I was excited to hear about it. Definitely want to know what went down last week in Tinley since I missed it once again. But yeah, excited about it. You know what I mean? So
all the videos have been amazing. I've been nothing but jealous. We didn't make it this time, but we're hoping to make the fall Tinley for sure.
Have y'all been to a Tinley yet?
We did. We went to fall Tinley last year, and that was our first one. It's a bit overwhelming, you know, a lot of people in a small space, but I mean, it was a blast though. It was definitely a really good experience.
Yeah, I've only been once myself. I went fall Tinley 2022, and I had a good time. It was a lot of fun. Met a lot of people, did some networking and whatnot. But it was definitely a lot of people packed in a tight space.
For sure.
Yeah. Overwhelming is the word for it, for sure, especially on your first one. I only went once as well. That was it fall? No, it was March. You went fall of 2022, right, Mike?
Yeah, you went March in 2022, right?
Yeah, I went March. Okay. Of 20. Right, the first one that opened up after COVID shut everything down for a year or whatever. And that place was packed to the brim, and I'm already 6'7", 300, and it's like people stepping on your shoes and stuff, and you know what I'm saying. I was glad I came prepared. I wore my military boots, so I didn't care about nobody stepping on my shoes. But still, though, it was just like bumper to bumper, elbow to elbow, a whole bunch of funkiness. Just
Even for a little guy, it was hard to get around.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to get in. So yeah, it's definitely overwhelming for.
And you pretty much have to go for both days, or I mean, you can't go one day and see everything. There's no way.
Yeah, no way.
You really got to get VIP to see everything.
Yes.
Yeah. That's the route to go for that show.
Go early, walk around, stop at everybody to say where you want to stop at. It's gonna be a lot of other people in VIP too, so you get networking stuff, make some plans for the weekend in terms of hanging out, stuff like that. But definitely VIP is the route to go. Get there early so you can see stuff, and then you might get first dibs on some stuff too. So I definitely encourage everybody to go the VIP route for sure.
Right. Then you
Yeah,
skip that
especially
whole
when you
rush.
get to the point of targeting your projects more and knowing what you want. You pretty much know what you're looking for before you even get there. And yeah, you got to get in that VIP spot to pick it up before somebody else does.
Oh yeah, 100%, 100%. Did you guys pick up anything back in the fall?
Tinley, yes, I picked up a mahogany het clown pos het lav from Ancestral Royal Pythons.
Oh, nice, nice.
From the big homie Jason.
Yeah,
Huh?
yeah.
I didn't know Jason
Jason
visited
was
Tinley.
at Tinley?
Well, maybe it wasn't.
That was Southeast Reptile.
Maybe
Expo.
that was Southeast. I picked that one up. Yeah.
Okay.
We did pick something up at Tinley. I don't remember what it was though. We bought so much last year; it's unreal, man. Be honest.
So I guess while we're on that topic, man, just so everybody know, talk about the projects that you're working and stuff like that, and what's your direction.
So my main focus, as far as recessive projects go, is going to be True Ghost Pied project with VPI line. And then, of course, we have some others in there. I'm really digging the Dinker project stuff right now as well. So I've got some stuff from Outback Reptiles that we want to do. And then mixing in a couple other codoms. We want to do some KRG stuff because it's not been heavily worked. And then Harlequin stuff as well has really piqued my interest. So I've got a couple different lines of Harlequin that I want to mess with and put in some things. So, but as far as recessive project goes, just mainly the True Ghost Pied project. I don't want to jump into too many recessive projects at one time, especially with codoms coming back hot, and some other things, new codoms coming in. I mean, there's 4 or 5 genes that people are talking about right now that are just now coming onto the scene that are going to be hot over the next couple of years. So you don't want to jump too far down the rabbit hole of stuff people have already done.
Yeah.
Darren, what's up, man? G?
Yeah.
What up?
What up, bro? I do want to
Not
ask
much.
you before we get to Darren, because why it's on my mind. You said you got something from Outback, and kid you not, I was just on Outback's website yesterday, looking at the little import thing or whatever. Think you get like 10 snakes for $150. What was your first off? How do you know what I'm saying? Walk us through that step, because I think that a lot of people are into trying to get in something different. Like, I mean, I would be that guy that gets in 10 normals, and so it would and they'd all be, what I'm saying, just female normals. So I don't want to do that. But walk us like, how did that go? Is there a different process you have to do, or is it just like ordering just, what I'm saying?
Oh, no, not really. It's not really any different than ordering through Morph Market or something like that. It's basically just your personal preference. Go on there and find what catches your eye, something that, normal, yes, but not normal at the same time. I'm a big fan of normals that aren't real normal. You know what I mean? Alien heads that don't have any eyes at all, but it's a normal, or something like that. And, find what catches your eye. But as far as the ordering process, you can order directly from or wholesale, like you were talking about, a lot of 10 at a time or whatever. And,
so
I don't think you don't get to pick as quite as specifically that way. If you get a lot, you're just going to get a lot, and some are going to be brighter, some are going to be not as bright. Some will be wonky, some won't. But you can also go to their website and order directly, specifically which ones you want from them, and have them shipped.
Okay.
Justin, what up, my bro? Real quick question on the Dinker that you're working. Say again.
What's that?
A real quick question on the Dinker that you're working. Like what type of of gene in it? Like, what does it do to the pattern or the color?
So the one I'm working towards is like I said, it's kind of like the alien heads have no eyes, and it's just really clean sides, not granity at all. Just more clean and smooth overall look to it, without anything like DG or anything in it. It's just brighter, and then just completely blushed out on the alien heads, so you're not seeing any distortion or any eyes in there or anything like that.
Okay.
Do any you got Darren? Have you done that as well? Do you work any dinkers or anything like that? I know Justin. No, Justin ain't messing with no dinkers.
I picked some stuff up from a Freedom Breeder, some of their import stuff when they're fully getting out of the ball pythons. So
got you. Okay.
Done.
Yeah.
So
has anything panned out for you?
Not yet. So
okay,
this is the first pairing. I bought females, so that getting them up to size and then turn around and pair them.
Got you. Okay, got you. Yeah, I'm curious to know, because I know a lot of people do the Outback route and will order. I'm just like trying to see like how legit is it when it comes to, because like I said, I looked at it yesterday because it crossed my mind. I was like, man, I should just try it just once. When it comes to that, I think it's $150 for 10, a bundle of 10. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just wondering, like, does somebody actually look in this bag like when it's packed up from Africa? Are we telling these guys in Africa just put 10 random snakes in the bag and it's coming to me, or is somebody going through that bag before it get to me? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I don't think it's getting picked clean before it gets to you. I mean, I'll give them an overall fairly good rating from what I've dealt with them, so no complaints on my end. Now, I have more complaints from other platforms of people, selling things that aren't what they say they are than from Outback Reptiles.
Right. Right. Now, do you have to? Is there a special? Do you just quarantine them like any other snake you quarantining?
Yeah,
just
your
process,
full,
or you
full
got a whole
60-day quarantine process, and just make sure everything's good, just like you would normally.
Can you use deworm snakes like dogs?
That is not a conversation I've had with my vet. I don't know. I've not had that problem. So that's a good question, though.
Can't you use like Panicure or something like that?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I know you can use Panicure, which is basically a dewormer. So I guess the answer would be yes, I would say.
Probably. I mean, the same as you can use Frontline on your feeders and never have a mite problem, So
Right.
Yeah, we'll say you can deworm snakes for sure.
Oh, okay, yeah, because I was just thinking like that with that process. If I'm getting something straight from Africa, oh shoot, I keep hitting my thing, shaking my camera. Like would that be a part of the process? Is deworming? If I got a bundle of 10 snakes for $150, am I going to deworm those snakes, or what? What that process? Because I'm definitely not bringing them nowhere near my collection until it's time to breed. Because I don't know. It might be some kind of foreign something in there that ain't gonna look right or act right with my domesticated. Mute me real quick, Mike. My wife is calling me on this random call real quick.
All right.
Now, when you get them from Outback, I mean, if you do like a bundle of 10, do they really go through them? Because some of them say unopened bags, but I don't know.
Right. That's a good question. I mean, there's always that opportunity, for somebody else to take a peek in there and take something they want or replace it with something else. I mean, it's always a possibility.
Yeah, I would definitely be worried about like just getting 10 normals and just be stuck with it. But I know some people who have got like some real dope stuff from buying it like that, like even directly from Outback.
I seen one animal that was up there. It was pretty nice. I was like, they're asking $2,500 for it. It was floating around on Facebook for a while there.
Outback was asking $2,500 for it.
$2,500 for an import.
What did it look like?
It looked really crazy.
Was it color? Was it pattern? Was it a little bit of both?
It was pattern. And it almost had like a drippy tri-stype kind of look to it, but a little bit different.
Okay.
Let's see if I can find it.
Yeah, that'll be something nice.
Yeah, I don't think I saw that one.
I know Ash was showing some stuff this past Sunday on Morph Map, like some dope stuff he picked up.
Yeah, he's got some amazing stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
That he picked up as far as dinkers go.
Yeah, he work a lot with Outback.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. It just kind of like for me, I'm like at this point in the game. Yeah, they are responsible for.
Yeah, that's what, like Brian said. Yeah,
Sure.
I was about to say that's pretty sure that's where Mandarin came from too. Correct.
It might have. Yeah, I believe Brian Barczyk got that from those guys.
I think so.
But what the only part that scares me is like part of my mind is like, shoot, I can get these in, but even if I do find something in here, am I about to work a gene that I don't know nothing about for 4 to 5 years because I got to work it to put it in bail, to put it in the fire, in the yellow belly complex, and all them different kind of complexes. You got to put it in and try to verify this gene, and then just end up being the gene that's already out there.
Right. And 4 to 5 is a short estimate. It could be 6 to 8 easy, you know.
Right. Yeah.
Put it to every type of complex that you can think of to prove it ain't, you know. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot of work to go into proving it out and getting it where it need to be.
But if you do it, then you have something to stand on. So for somebody new like me, you know what I mean? It's a big deal, you know, if you can put in that amount of time and do it and then actually have fruit from the labor, you know?
Yeah,
100%.
for sure. Yeah, if you can stick it out, I mean, I would most definitely. I don't know if I got that kind of discipline.
Yeah, that time is what basically scares me out of it, man. I'm scared of 7, 8 years in and then get nothing.
Yeah, I'll be mad.
Hey, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take, though.
Oh yeah, no risk, no reward. That's a fact. That's a fact. No risk, no reward.
Darren, you went to Tinley?
No, I didn't go to Tinley. I didn't. I missed it.
Yeah, I think we all.
Nobody went to Tinley. Nobody went there.
No,
but you going
I heard it was super busy, like way busier than the fall. Obviously, the fall had like the hurricane stuff and whatnot going on. But I heard it was pretty busy.
That's exactly what I heard. That there was a lot of people. So
I'm pretty sure we'll all be at the fall show, though, right?
That's the one I'm trying to make it to.
Yeah.
If it's not that, then I'm going back to Florida.
Yeah, going to the fall one for sure.
Oh, you got to go to Daytona anyway, bro.
one of those got to happen. Either Daytona or Tinley. One of them got to happen. You know, but because if I bring the wife, it's more than likely Daytona unless she want to go to Tinley again. But she didn't. I mean, she liked Tinley because we went there and stayed in Chicago for 2 days before the show. But I ain't doing that again. If I'm going, we're going for the weekend, not for a whole week.
Why you doing that again?
Oh man, you shoot. It's hard out here for a pimp when he's trying to get the money for the rent. You know, no.
You gotta catch the Southeast show, Matt.
Oh yeah,
Southeast, man. Yeah, it's on point. We've been to both of them so far.
It's gonna be a quick turnaround this year though, because Southeast Reptile Expo is the week before Daytona.
Yeah, Tinley's half the drive for us than Daytona is, man. So it's a no-brainer for us, you know.
How far are you away from Tinley?
It's like 6.5 hours.
Oh, that ain't
that's not bad.
That ain't bad.
No. Daytona's like 12.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Tinley for me, like driving is like 13, 14 hours.
Oh, yeah. See.
Yeah, I think Dallas is like 5 minutes longer.
Yeah, they all at least 2 to 3 days for me. I ain't doing it.
Damn, man.
I ain't driving that far. I ain't doing it. Not at all. Unless I get me one of them Sprinter vans, then I'll do it. So that way I can just sleep in the van, pull over, sleep, get back on the road. But Nah.
Yeah, we always fly in, man, but I just hate wrestling with that Atlanta airport, though, man. I mean, Jesus, man.
Atlanta, man, yeah, it's busy. The traffic, the airport, all of it, man. Just coming in and out of the city anytime. It's, it's stop and go.
Oh yeah,
I hate that airport.
Yeah, that traffic be nuts in Atlanta. It don't matter what time of day it be.
No,
it's hella traffic.
Nope, no matter what.
Like we done drove through there like
Everything
1,
goes
2 in
through
the
there.
morning. Traffic.
Yep. Everything. Every time I go there, it just remind me of when I was getting shipped off to basic training for the military, and I'm like, yeah, no, I don't want to. This place is just awful. No good memories here. So
Yeah, it don't matter at all. Sunday traffic, just the holiday traffic. It does not matter. The only time it's not a lot of traffic probably is when it be snowing in Atlanta and everybody got to stay home because they don't know how to drive in the snow.
That's how it is with the rain here. People don't know how to drive in the rain.
Yeah, I heard that.
No, that's legit.
I heard that. I was talking to
and
somebody.
people run off the road.
Like I heard people like call off work when it be raining just because they don't want to drive in the rain. They don't know how to drive in the rain.
Crazy. Yeah, I mean, come on.
That's some California
it's not
people
that
for
bad. Oh yeah, definitely.
you. Man,
It's
I'm
terrible.
telling you.
They're going 45, 50. You're like, oh, it's come on, really?
Yeah. Shoot, I'm trying to think. Did Dave hit you up? Is he coming on?
He jumped backstage, but he was having some video problems, so he's supposed to hop back on with his phone.
Oh,
okay.
No, somebody just said looking for Dave.
Oh, Brandon.
Yeah, Brandon did. We looking
Dave's
for him
always
too, man.
a good time at the shows, man. He's always got some good energy.
All the time, every show.
Yeah.
Who is
He a
that?
good dude.
Dave.
Dave. Yeah, for sure.
Did he go to Tinley this March?
Did Dave go?
Yeah, I think he was there.
Yeah, he was there.
He was at
Yeah, I saw him in
Southeast
the,
riding them little go-karts around. Him and Chase were chasing each other around, I think.
Yeah, I saw him in who video was that? I think it was Fear and Fascination. They had a video with like him and Dave Kaufman where they was going back and forth about the Daves.
Twitter Fest. Oh, okay, yeah, I know who you're talking about. Those are cats that interviewed y'all at the Southeast show, right?
Yeah.
The husband and wife or whatever.
Yeah. Joe and Ash.
Yeah, they're a cool couple.
Yeah, Joe actually performed because you rap too.
Oh no, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he performed at the after party at Keys Dem Airbnb.
Yeah,
it was dope.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't know that at all. Dude, next year, then, if I could get out there in August, I might have to get on the 1-2s there. You know what I'm saying? That Cali life, like. Oh, there. How does Cypress working out for you right now? Since we're waiting on Dave to come in.
I got 2 racks done so far. 2 racks.
How many racks you got?
Full. 6.
Oh yeah, you got way too many.
I got a little bit of ways to go. That's what I was gonna do right now, but I was like, oh man, I'll jump on.
You got too many.
I've been slowly moving on, changing out tubs and putting it in. But I like it. I like it a lot. Cypress mulch is it.
I put all my all my snakes is on it now, but I put them all on there within 48 to 72 hours. I was like, yeah, everybody's going on there.
You sound like Josh. That's what he was doing.
Say what?
How you been liking it so far?
Oh, I love it. It's for me, I like it because when they poop and stuff on there, it like sits on top of it. Versus I felt like with my cocoa, I don't know how it get lost in the cocoa, but it just finds its way down to the bottom of the cocoa and sticks to the bin and all that. But everything that I mean, as for me, it's been good. Again, though, it's dry here. Like inside my room right now, it's 27% humidity inside my room. And that's because the fan ain't blowing. When the fan blows, it brings it back down a little bit. But it's been holding I'll dump my water cup at the back or just all around every week. So it's been holding the humidity pretty good inside the tub. And that's really all I worry about anyway. But I mean, it's been good for me. I like it. I like the look of it. It is nowhere near as dusty as cocoa. Nowhere near as dusty as cocoa. So I do love it for that.
Let's get that.
Or the dye. Yeah. Because I have had kick some Cypress into their water bowl. And
nope.
You ain't worried about getting no brown ring all over your water bowls and stuff. And so,
I hate that. I hate that.
Man, I hate that brown ring. That's like the kiss of death. You can't get that thing off for nothing. Nothing.
Hey, real quick, Chris gave 2 of the people on the panel a shout out. Real quick. So call y'all up real quick.
Oh, yep.
Want to show your shirt?
The shirt. Yep. Right there, just came in the other day. So big shout out to Chris and Shauna and everybody putting that together for all the veterans and all the work they're doing, man. Just super cool people doing super cool things for the community. So
yes, sir. Big shout out to them for doing that.
I still got to get my shirt.
Oh yeah, here you go. My shirt's a little bit smaller.
Get mine too.
He got that's medium on. That's medium.
I really do. Hey man, come on. You know how tall I look compared to you? That's totally different. I still wear kid sizes.
Oh man. Oh shit.
I feel you, man. I fel you.
I still gotta order mine.
He can't hold the camera like this and let me be behind him. That's crazy.
Yeah, that video, I was dying in that video.
Hey, y'all to drop the link in the chat, please.
Yeah, drop the link. Yeah, I still got to order mine. I'm on the back of there, and I ain't ordered mine yet. I'm like, what? I'm slacking.
How much Cypress did y'all buy, and how much was it?
So we all got a pallet. Well, most of us got a pallet. Mickey got 2, and it was one pallet had 68 bags on it, piece or each, and then what was it, like 657 total?
Yeah,
something like that. It was 650 something for a pallet for everybody. Yeah, when we all divided it, because there was 11 or 10 of us in the whole order.
How many bags have you gone through so far?
To do my whole 80, both 5540s. So 80 big tubs, 18 V18 tubs, and like 42 of the FB5 tubs. I went through 8 bags. Or no, 7.5, because the 8th one or half of it is still in the bin. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
that's not bad at all.
A minute.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. I still got 60 bags left, and I'm ready. Oh, there he is. There he is.
All right. Well, here's the satisfaction here. So first off, let me know if my volume's right. But MJ, I'm an hour late, right? First off, I'm an hour late.
Yeah.
You get.
Yeah. Exactly.
All right. Cool. So first off, an hour late. All right. So that's because I need you to hold my hand and let me know the difference between Eastern and Central time. Otherwise, this doesn't work. I'm Central. So first off, yeah. Second off, I found a laptop, like a MacBook Pro, and the camera's broken, so it's a useless piece of shit. So I'm back to not having a laptop. So this couldn't go any worse. I appreciate you guys hanging tight.
Oh, no worries, man. Fortunately, we had some folks willing to hop on, so it worked out.
Yeah, you just had 4 guys sitting around waiting to hop on a live podcast.
You know, hey. That's the community for you.
Sometimes, man. Sometimes, you know.
All right. Well,
now that you all know, I could go ahead and exit to the left and let you know what I'm saying. Let y'all do y'all thing.
Well, no one has to leave because this is not necessarily my conversation anymore. But we can do whatever makes you guys happy.
So we did want to talk a little bit about Tinley and stuff. So talk about Tinley, kind of how it went for you and all that good stuff.
Well, it went well for me because I love Chad and I got to hang out with Chad all weekend. Honestly, I thought it was a pretty interesting weekend. I had some unique conversations on what was selling and what wasn't. Without stating what the jeans were, I did hear there was a couple $30,000 snakes sold at the show, which is always a good thing to hear. I heard a crazy number on a pied day gecko project, like a 5-figure number that could have been a lie, but might not have been. I've never even seen anything like that before. And other than that, I thought it was pretty steady. I thought the place looked extremely busy all weekend. I tried moving around. I was pretty much stuck in one spot the whole time for the amount of people. Didn't get a good chance to walk around. Honestly, I stayed pretty married to Chad's table trying to help him out with sales. But I always think the vibe's good, even if the vibe wasn't good, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. That made perfect sense. Yeah, I heard it was pretty busy. At least that's the feedback that I got from everybody that I talked to. And a lot of people said they had a really good show. I even had somebody say they sold out of everything they brought. So that was pretty good.
No, for sure. Yeah, if the price is right, you don't have to take anything home in the end of the day. But no, I thought overall it was a good show. I know the auction did well, but the auction always does well. You might have to coax me for information you want. I gave you a big sale. I gave you a crowd size. What else do you want out of me?
So how much information are you willing to share? You mentioned about like what was selling good, what wasn't. You mentioned not mentioning the jeans, but give us a little bit.
Well, I don't want to give it away because if I give it away, you guys can use your imagination. You saw pictures from the show, and I'm sure you know what a $30,000 ball python looks like. But like I said, it was for a project that everybody works with, or not everybody. Everybody wants to. It was a triple recessive. Of course, there was DG in it. Okay. But no, person I think had a pair on their table, made a deal, and like I said, I was under the impression around 30, could have been 50 each. But that was the biggest sale of the weekend that I was aware of, without naming names. Other than that, when it came to like a secondary big ball python sale, I mean, I heard of a lot of good things moving. Chad sold some Cypress special clown stuff to start the show, which went really well. I hate to say it, I didn't get the feedback on every single big sale. That one big one and that Pied day gecko one was kind of the two biggest things I heard that went down over the weekend.
Okay, did you get a chance to check out Corey's geckos? His
Never left Chad's table.
Oh, you never left Chad's table?
Yeah, I am the worst. The title of this was a recap with Dave. I can't tell you shit. I can bullshit shit, but I can't tell you anything.
You had one job, bro.
I was definitely going to ask him about that Ultramel Sunset too. I was going to ask about that.
Well, what's the Sunset thing?
I was going to ask if you saw the Ultramel Sunset. Wasn't that there?
Yeah, no. I think that was a Brock Wagner animal. Maybe. I know Brock's in that project. I've seen that one in the past. Somebody in Europe made them about 2-3 years ago. A couple, I think it was a pair maybe. I haven't seen any updated pictures. I think it's a really cool looking animal, but I'm very pro sunset. You know, I always joke around about it. I like that people bitch and complain about sunset because it's giving people a sunset the leg up to get further ahead in the project. I think there's a lot of really good combos, but I also think there's a few really shitty ones that we're kind of living in to bring the rest down. I didn't get to see it in person. I have seen the combo, and I did see it on Facebook again today, if that counts.
Yeah, it was Justin from Morph Jungle that had Ultramel Sunset.
Okay, cool. Yeah. I like Justin. Justin's a good guy.
And I think I misspoke earlier. Chameleons, not gecko. Like I think he got Panther chameleons, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not super familiar with chameleons, but I think it's Panther chameleons that Corey got. Corey and me talked Panther chameleons for a few minutes at the show. He actually did really well on them, as far as I'm aware. I want to say every animal he brought with to sell at that show, he either sold them all on Saturday or had them all sold by early Sunday morning. Nice.
Wow.
Yeah. Things like that stand out. You know, you don't see a lot of chameleon guys anymore, and you don't see a lot of guys that have Panther chameleons. I feel like when I'm on the East Coast, or maybe, the West Coast, or like a Daytona show, I see a lot of that stuff, but I can't remember over the years somebody who just rolled into Tinley with like a lot of nice Panther chameleons.
Gotcha.
It takes so long to hatch.
It takes a bit to hatch. Big clutches, which is nice, but short lifespans. I want to say that, I don't know for sure, but I thought everything's under 5 years old for those projects. Females hit maturity pretty fast. I want to say 30 to 40 eggs in a clutch. And I don't know if they can breed for more than a couple years. Somebody else might know a little more about that, but I did read about, it's kind of an off topic, but in Madagascar, there's a species of chameleon that goes extinct every year because it takes them 9 months to hatch, and I think they only live for 6 months.
Oh, heck no, that's a waste of time.
Yeah, so the whole period of time, you can't find a single one until they all hatch out at the same time. They all breed, they all die. I hear if they have a good rainy season, some can make it past the year of age. But typically, I'm assuming during the dry season, they're all just crashing.
Jeez.
Yeah,
So they
that's
must bury the eggs and dig in the ground and bury the eggs or whatever.
They're getting them deep enough for them to make it another generation. But yeah, no, I thought it was kind of a weird one. Like I said, I like Jackson's chameleons, I like the Panthers, but anything with a short lifespan like that, it's really hard to commit to it, I guess is the way of putting it.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So Rich said, what was your favorite snake at the show? But you said earlier you didn't get around much, but maybe you saw something.
Well, I did see the captive bred and born Bolins on the table. Anytime you get to see that at the show, I think that's a great time. Shout out to Brian Carter. I got my first pyros, the Mountain Kings, from him. He had some specials that were lacking a lot of black pigment, of course, because I went home with it. It was one of my favorite, but it was just kind of something I've always wanted to have around. Man, I hate to say, I think those captive bred Bolins are probably one of my favorite things because I've only seen so many younger animals in person.
Were they for sale or just display?
Man, I eased by it like 2 or 3 times, and I don't even know if there was like a number on the display case. I just kind of stared at the animal in passing. I was that bad at the show. I can find out. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm sure if you roll into Tinley with an animal like that or animals like that, you're probably looking to sell. Market value on those animals have been anywhere from $10,000 to $15,000, but USA captive bred, they might be able to get a little bit more from the right buyer.
I'm in the wrong
Gotcha.
species.
I saw some at Justin's and they was really nice. He had like 2.
Yeah, Justin working with that project's really interesting. There are a lot more people in the United States that have been producing Bolins. I want to say there's at least 3 different breeders in the United States that have successfully did it. And where that seems like a low number, there's never really been that many of them out there. And again, I know the guys in Germany kind of figured out that you got to like let their temperatures drop down to like 50s at night and then bring them up a little bit. I think the biggest problem we've had with that species over the years is we never got them cool enough to properly cycle. But again, I'd like to have a better conversation with Justin how he does it. I don't know if he's getting those drop temperatures in those cage. I don't know if he has a special cage that has like a little air conditioner on it that's blowing a little cool air in there. But I do know that I've seen videos where they're ultrasound and it looks like the follicles are building for them. I just don't know if it's going to be a reabsorb towards the end. I hope he's successful. That'd be awesome for him. I mean, that's a badge of honor in the hobby if you're able to do a thing like that because it's few and in between. But I'm used to a lot of people failing at it, but I'm really hoping Justin is successful.
Yeah, that'll be dope. That'd be real dope. So what's up next for you show-wise?
I might head down to that Nashville show, the Plant and Reptile Expo that Sloan Brothers and Best Dressed Troy puts on. Okay. I think that's going to be May 10th and 11th or 11th and 12th. I think it's Mother's Day weekend. Chad's going to be there. Their shows have been doing very well. I wanted to get out to one. Nashville might be the first one to give a shot. The only thing that'll stop me from going is I might want to go play in the woods here and flip over rocks instead. I got a buddy that might be passing through town, and that's the weekend he wanted to be here. And I like to spend a lot of time in the woods during the springtime finding the snakes if I can. All catch and release.
Yeah, yeah, I went to the Charlotte show back in September. It was pretty dope. Yeah,
they had it over by Bojangles Arena. Yeah, I lived in Charlotte for about 7 years off and on, 5 years. Then I went back for about a year before I got pulled away again. I think Charlotte is an amazing city to have a reptile show. They've had the Repticon Concord show for about a decade. I had always heard that there was rules in the city of Charlotte that you couldn't have snakes that exceed 8 feet. And I was always under the impression that's why Mecklenburg County never had a good reptile show in it. And you always had to travel 40 minutes outside of the city. I've now found out that the reason is that there's not a lot of locations in downtown Charlotte that wants to have a show with live animals at it. Snakes especially. It's a hard sell no matter how much money you have. But if you can get a good venue that everybody's happy with in Charlotte, not say that the original one isn't, but there's always room for improvement. And if you can market to the suburbs in the area that have all the moms that love to buy plants, Pineville's a big area, a lot of money, but I don't know how well you guys know Charlotte, but Charlotte was like nothing until the mid 90s until all the banks moved in, and then it blew up overnight. And now, honestly, in the Southeast, it's probably one of my favorite cities in the Southeast.
Yeah, 100%. Same for me too. We was actually gonna move to Charlotte. It's been like what 10, 15 years now, but we ended up coming here to Gainesville first and just ended up planting roots and never made it. But anytime I get to visit, I always have a good time. And I enjoyed that show too. I was fine with the venue, like it was spacious, parking was straight and all that. It was a good show. It was interesting seeing like the plant people. The plant people was like in and out, like they knew exactly what they wanted to get. They would come in, get what they wanted to get, and dart right back out. Like it was pretty cool to watch that because I was sitting near the door, and so like I could see people like in and out, in and out.
I like when promoters think outside the box, and there's two communities that I find that are in animals but aren't in reptiles. When they find out about reptiles, they like to get into it. And that's the bully community and the saltwater fish community. When those guys on the outside look in, especially the saltwater guys, and they realize it's a hobby that can actually make you a little bit of money if you're good at it, not just plunging tens of thousands of dollars into something that's going to be worthless when you're done with it. Outside of fracking and the corals and all that, I know there's good money in the saltwater game, but Ryan put on a show, I believe, in Houston where half of the building, there was a divider wall, was all saltwater and fish stuff, which I thought was good because there'll be people that want to come over. Oddities sometimes help out when they have like an oddity exhibit next door, but plants with the bioactive scene doing its doing and people obsessing over that, I think having a good plant scene at those shows is awesome. And if you take the time and talk to these plant vendors, they say they've never been at better shows than when they go to reptile shows.
Yeah, I talked to the guy from I think it's called Prop and Grow. Forgive me if I got that wrong, but he was set up not too far from us, and he had like probably like about two tables at least, and he just had like all kinds of plants. It looked like a jungle, and dude was just like back and forth, like at his booths the whole time. Like it seemed like he was never slow, and he was just like moving stuff. So he said it was a real good show for him, and I could definitely see it.
No, that's awesome. I know they started in Colorado. I want to say near Colorado Springs. The first show I heard was a banger. I heard their summer show was also good. Kansas City gets a lot of shows in Kansas City between Cold Blooded and the Show Me Reptile guys. So when they put a show in Kansas City, I was kind of like, man, that's a rough town. It's a little oversaturated. I talked to William Philippak after that day, and he said he absolutely killed it. He brought a lot of ball pythons, and then he brought a lot of like his matlocks and all his like little dwarf pythons and all that kind of stuff he really loves, carpet pythons. He said he didn't sell any of that stuff at the show, but he sold the shit out of ball pythons. And I'm pretty sure Josh with Ball Shed said he had a really good weekend too. So they marketed it to a different crowd of people that the other shows are marketing to. And those people came in and spent good money at that show.
Yeah, it's interesting you bring up the oddities too, because I was talking with Brian from ARS, and they're having the Midwest Reptile show at I think it's the last weekend in April, and they're doing it like it's usually a one-day show, and now it's gonna be a two-day show because they doing it alongside this oddities convention, and they're expecting like anywhere from like 17 to 20K people to show up at the oddities convention. And the Reptile Expo is in a good location because the people who go into the oddities convention, they basically have to park like where the Reptile Expo is held, and so like that's going to be a good crossover effect. And so that's why they extended it to 2 days, and they're expecting a lot of foot traffic just based off that alone.
No, I like that. Like I said, I think you have to think outside the box on some of these shows, and whenever you can find another hobby that makes people happy that also like reptiles and put it real close, you're going to get some overlap. I'll be honest, my favorite ever convention next to a show was in Baltimore, and they had a Lego convention next door. Me and Chad went over there and dropped a lot of money on Legos. Like too much money on Legos, I guess is the way of putting it. But so what about you guys? What's your range for shows, or where have you guys been that makes you happy?
Southeast for me, man. I really enjoyed that Southeast show.
Southeast was good. You had an end cap. Your setup looked nice. I love the last one, man. I love the venue. I love the atmosphere. I thought it was a great one.
Oh yeah, appreciate it.
Yeah, Southeast was nuts, man. I really enjoyed that, and just it was like true white glove service, man. Pulling up there and they like back up and we'll help you unload, and then they helped us like load at the end of the show. Like that was dope. Like I'm really feeling the Atlanta show and where it's gonna go. Like, and it's a great location too. Just Atlanta itself, like it's gonna be stuff to do. I can't say enough good things about that show.
No, 100%. So half the things I say are lies, but I may or may not have been spit on by a Repticon worker in the past while unloading at Atlanta. But different atmosphere. You know, you kind of you know what you're gonna get. But I always appreciate the shows when I did them.
That's wild.
Yeah, it was fun, man. I showed up to a Repticon one time in South Carolina at Columbia, and we drove from Buffalo, New York for that show. I'd meet up in Cleveland with my buddy and go down because the Southeast, in my opinion, was way better than the Northeast. Like, I would drive 10 to 12 hours to a show, even if there was a show 2 hours from my house in Buffalo. People up north, I felt a little more cutthroat with the pricing back then, and price on table were a lot lower. Also, if you weren't a familiar face, people didn't really want to buy from you. Hamburg, White Plains were like that. You got to do almost like a year before anybody even wants to mess with you. But no, I went down to Columbia after like a 12-hour drive, and they're like, "Oh, we don't have tables for you." And I'm all like, I do this every year. I've never missed it. And they're like, "We could put you in the venomous section." And I walk over there and there's like dead iguanas. There's a guy like serving sloppy Joe sandwiches. And then there's my tables they wanted me to sit on. Let's just say this. Things like that is why I don't do Repticon anymore.
Yeah, that's wild. That sounds real bootleg for sure.
Yeah. I'm not saying don't do it, because here's the thing. I did make a lot of money, but just before Bob stopped doing the shows, I had stopped doing the shows. Actually, a little before that, I came to help out with Ben Rennick's stuff. I had tables booked with my buddy, and he kind of pulled a fast one on me and just gave my tables away. But I figured no big deal. I've been doing Repticon for 10 years. So I went to him like, "Hey, little discrepancy with the other guy. I need 4 tables. And they're like, "We can't help you." And this went on for a couple days. And then finally, a good buddy of mine gave me 4 tables for the Nashville, Tennessee show. And I remember being there, like all the Repticon workers are like staring at me from afar, kind of afraid to come over, kind of not. But that was literally the last time I ever went to a Repticon. After that, like, there was enough bullshit with the show for years. And I usually don't complain about stuff. I'm trying to be positive, but took it in the ass a lot over the years for Repticon to make it work, and that was kind of the final take it in the ass. You can only take it in the ass so much.
Matt, what about you? Like, what's your top show?
Dude, as far as vending, the best one that I ever did when vending was the Pomona show. That one was the best one for me, vending. I do like the Sacramento show, but it's kind of like hit and miss. I feel like a lot of the California shows they're nothing like. I wish we had a Bob out here doing a show, or somebody like, what I'm saying, out here doing a show that's also in the hobby and also doing a show. You know what I'm saying? Because I think it would be great for the West Coast. But yeah, those are our 2 big shows really out here, and. But I like them both. They're good shows, but they're nothing like going to the Tinley or going to, in my eyes, going to somewhere on the East Coast.
Yep, the Super Show is overwhelming, but also can do very well. I think the first one I set up at, I got tables a little late, and I was like the very last table in the building next to like the hot dog stand and the wood guy.
Yeah,
and I remember I set up my table. And I like looked down the aisle and I couldn't even see the front door. I was like, I'm fucked. Yeah. I shouldn't even be here right now. But I'll be honest, I think I pulled like $13K out of that weekend on like 4 tables. And the Anaheim show, I've had, and I don't mean to talk numbers, but like I had one Anaheim, I did 18. Anytime I do 6 to 10 in a show, I'm a happy man. Because a lot of the shows I do aren't necessarily big shows. But my best shows to date have been Anaheim, Pomona, and I think the best one I've ever had is I did 28,000 at a Tinley, selling almost only boa constrictors. But 3 of those sales were animals that were $6,000 to $6,500. But I did that on one table. Oh, what's that?
What? How much did you say? 20 what?
28 was my best Tinley I've ever done. And I did a Colorado Repticon back in the day. I did $18,000 at. I was blown away. The reason I did 18 was the other Colorado show moved into town, and they actually put on a show the weekend beforehand, the Reptilian Nation. So vendors didn't show up to the Repticon the next weekend, but the Repticon crowd still showed up. So I ended up just taking a lot of the money that came through the door that weekend. I always tell people that, a lot of these smaller shows can be diamonds in the rough. Just don't go to them during a rough time. I don't experiment on shows in the summertime. Even good shows can be bad in the summertime. But, come tax return time, if I've got anything within a 5 to 6 hour range of my house, if I don't see a lot of vendors doing it and it seems like a decent town, I'll always go. And I've done that at I did Knoxville for Repticon on a basketball court at a VFW while everybody else went to the Myrtle Beach show, and there was an Atlanta show that weekend. And I absolutely killed it. I think I did 10 to 15,000 that weekend. I had 4 tables full. By Sunday, I was down to a table and a half of animals. But those are a lot of sales to get to that amount. A lot of it's under $500, but I think we all produce enough lower end animals and need an outlet. Some of these low end shows are what you might consider a low end show. You can move quantity in animals.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah, I haven't done the Anaheim one yet. I need to do that one. I have done the Pomona one and the SAC one. I'm doing the SAC one again, but I need to sign up for Anaheim for sure.
Sacramento, is that Reptilian Nation?
No, it's oh gosh, what is his name?
Is that another Romney show? The owner of show?
No, it's not. Romney doesn't do that one. It's oh man, Darren, do you know the promoter's name for the SAC show?
No, I know the what is it? It's not Show Me. Is it?
You sure it's not Reptilian Nation?
No, Reptilian Nation does the
Roseville.
Roseville. They do Roseville. I did Roseville. That one was good last year too. I'm doing that one again. But and the cool part about them is that wait, hold on. His name is on the tip of my tongue, and I just can't spit it out. Because Rami is the dude from the Pomona show.
Yep. Pomona and Anaheim for sure. It'll come to us. I know Reptilian Nation out there because I have a few guys that travel and do all their shows, and I've talked to Ryan about doing that show. It's so far. And a lot of times I'm afraid to travel too far out of my comfort zone, depending on my stock. Boas give me a lot of confidence at a lot of shows. I'll drive a lot further to a show if I've got good boa stock. I won't drive that far for my ball pythons. And now just put in perspective, you guys are all way ahead of me in ball pythons. I might know some shit, but I'm not playing the same game a lot of the guys in the ball python game play. I didn't put a lot of money back in the last 5 years. And because of that, my collection is 10 years out of date. So where you guys look at a clutch and maybe you want to average 5,000 a clutch, maybe 10,000. A lot of times I look at that female and say, I put $63 into her this year. If I can make $900 on her, I'm happy. Yeah. And a lot of my breakdown of my clutches is I want about $1,000 average, but now I'm also having to pump out 100 to 200 clutches. I'd rather just do 30 clutches and make high-end animals, but I sold a lot of high-end we produced during the COVID run. A lot of my puzzle stuff that we was producing, a lot of my sunset stuff we were producing, even some adult animals from those projects. If I didn't love money so much when I need it, I'd have a better collection right now. But the ball pythons, whenever I've needed money, they've always been there to take care of me. But again, I got rid of a lot of high-end because of it.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you kind of switch up your strategy and go back and start trending back towards the high-end stuff?
Here's the thing, I could, but I'm going to try to find a real way of doing it where I don't have to invest a lot of money. Luckily for shed testing, I was a big fan of the sunset puzzle. One of my favorite ones I've seen from that project so far. With that being said, William Philippek has a sunset puzzle double het breeder male in my house. So I'm breeding it to puzzle stock, I'm breeding it to DGs, and I'm breeding it to het sunset stock. Now I'm going to have to test all my stuff, but the puzzles I'd make otherwise and the sunsets I'd make otherwise, not being het, is those combos wouldn't make me the kind of money that a visual sunset or visual puzzle het for the other gene will make me right now. And it's a long shot with the DG girls. I don't have to test for DG, but I'm still going to have to test for sunset and puzzle. But I could be in the triple het game just from a simple breeding loan. And I know there's some people playing there right now, but that's not really a market that's heavily tapped into yet. So I could get there, but I'm going to have to grind hard for 3 years and just do really smart pairings and hope for good odds and give RGI a lot of my money.
Hey, I do want to take a real quick commercial break. We'll be right back. Experience the epitome of elegance and excellence with Reagan Renee Rural Pythons. Working projects like DG Krypton and DG Clown, you can place your bets on quality and let Reagan Renee be your winning hand. Expect innovation and unmatched customer service with every interaction. Elevate your collection with the finest quality ball pythons. Visit them on Instagram and Morph Market. Discover the extraordinary at Reagan Renee Rural Pythons. Step into a world where dreams take shape with Ozzy, a true leader in the reptile industry. Known for unparalleled customer service and a dedication to excellence, Ozzy sets the standard. His cutting-edge projects continue to inspire and push the boundaries of what's possible. Submerge yourself in a future full of possibilities. Join the journey, embrace the innovation, and above all, keep dreaming.
It's called EPIC, the Exotic Pet Industry Conference, and it's free to register at epic.live. EPIC is over 20 special guests across 16 sessions covering industry trends, marketing, branding, podcasting, and YouTube. EPIC is for pet keepers and breeders. It's for gecko and invert lovers. It's for snake and spider lovers. EPIC is for anyone who enjoys these amazing animals. Did I mention it's free? Register now at epic.live.
Welcome back. Big shout out to everybody for the support.
Did the commercial breaks go well? Do people ever harass you for commercial breaks?
Not really. Like a lot of times people like the commercials just because it's a little something different. Usually get positive feedback on the commercials. And at first I used to worry about having the 30-second commercials, but I watch the numbers and don't typically really get a drop off during the commercials. In fact, it either really stay the same and sometimes it go up. So I don't sweat it too much. Okay. Do you get pushback on the commercials?
I think maybe there was a little bit. I don't think it was anything crazy heavy, but I think when we started doing that, there was like people don't like change. So, there was a couple conversations that probably came up. I think like the Trumbauer episode that I did, I think we popped one in where people kind of maybe said something. The thing is, me being like so bad at this whole technology thing, I don't read the comments. I don't know the likes. I don't know how many people view my videos. I'm completely in the dark. I think maybe someone secondhand told me about the commercial thing, but no, otherwise, I don't know what the fuck's going on. Half time I'm on this phone and I can't see any of the background stuff you guys see.
Gotcha. Well, somebody say they didn't like the commercial. They thought
it wasn't the commercial. They didn't like the break. Like they didn't like the stop and the go again. Like it seemed like there was a little bit of pushback, but that might have been one person I heard about. Like I said, you got to do it, and I don't really see a problem with it. But I want to say there was at least a little pushback when we started doing that.
Gotcha. Yeah, I try to when I remember to and I'm on my A game. I try to like have a cliffhanger right before the commercial break. Like I ask a question and be like, "Hey, don't answer that right now," or I'll say we're gonna talk about something when we get back because we usually are. And so I kind of like clue the audience in on what's coming up next to incentivize them to kind of stick around because I want them to see the commercials, not just the show, but definitely see the commercials too because people paying money to have their videos shown. So definitely want to see it.
I've never been lucky enough to have a sponsor doing this. I think everybody's a little worried about the things that I say, so nobody wants to throw money at it. You hate to be tied for me when I do that one wrong thing that I've probably already done 6 times, but I keep on getting away with. But yeah, there's some podcasters I listen to that aren't industry related, and they segue into commercials, and their flow is really good. Like, they're really just nonchalant about it. It works out perfect. But like, even doing the intro for a podcast, like, I could podcast for hours. I stutter in the intro. Like, even just saying, hey, support US ARC. Like, it's like I've never said it ever in my entire life. Every single time I do it. It's not great.
Yeah. Sometimes I do stumble on the intro. Like, and I don't know why. Like, maybe I'm tired. Maybe I don't know what it be, but occasionally I will definitely stumble on the intro.
It's the only part of what I do that is even semi-scripted. Everything else about podcast is 0 notes, 0 pre-planning. I say that after being an hour late, so it's not a good argument, but like, I've always found that if I go with a game plan, it's not good for me, because then I think about what I'm supposed to talk about, but I would rather just flow with the conversation. He said something that sparks my interest, and maybe we go a direction that I wasn't planning on going. I think the only podcast out of the 50 to 100 I've done so far that I put any effort into was the first one I ever did with Justin, because I wanted to talk about really off the wall stuff that maybe he never talked about. Like, we talked about the metaverse and just like owning property in the metaverse to like have a snake store that you could virtually have people come visit. Because, you know, Nike and all the big shoe companies do that. You know, there's a courtside seat to the Lakers. You can literally, there's a camera on a seat that does one of these. You pop on your goggles. It's like you're courtside of the Lakers. So I do think like the conversation was things for the future in the hobby, like CRISPR technology, putting mutations into snakes if it was affordable. I don't know. So I took notes for that one. And then we recently did the one where we talked about Chinese rats coming in the country. And that was another one that, you guys watch that? Is it Reptiles podcast at home? That Dylan gentleman up in Canada. He did the Tiger King episode about a month and a half ago.
So
I'll be honest. Oh,
I saw one of his like about a month or so ago. Was it Tiger King or was it Reptile King?
Well, yeah, it was the Reptile King one, and they were kind of talking about that. Yeah. That podcast that he did was one of the most organized conversations I've ever seen, outside of watching maybe like a political commentary or a political podcast talk for an hour. Like, everything about it, in my opinion, was perfect. And that was before I did the rodent one. And I was all like, how can I raise my standards to be that guy in that moment? Because again, in my opinion, I thought that was a great podcast. And I don't watch a lot of podcasts.
Yeah, he does a really good job. I was impressed. I think I watched it like once, maybe even twice, because it was real interesting to kind of hear like the backstory and hear the history in terms of like how closely tied the reptile industry and the drug industry was. So that was pretty cool. I had fun last week. It was a pre-recorded episode, but I had Freeway Rick Ross on the show. And that was totally different, right? Because obviously he's not into reptiles. And we just talked about like his background, a little bit about what he's doing now, but we didn't get too deep into like what he's doing now. But it was cool to be able to sit down and have that conversation with him one-on-one. And then it was a little something different. And then it was pre-recorded. So I threw in some other little elements and stuff like that, just to do a little bit something different to keep it fresh. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I do like the idea of talking to people that aren't necessarily in the industry. You know, there was that Theo Vaughn clip going around a few weeks ago where they were talking about the ballpark pyramid scheme. Bro, I hit up guys I know in LA. I hit up a bunch of randos. I was like, man, I sent them the clip that I had from the Snakes and the Fat Man podcast when the cop rolled up. I was like attaching that clip to emails, trying to find this motherfucker, convince him to come on my podcast so I could tell him about the pyramid scheme.
Theo?
I'm sure he hasn't read any of my shit yet. Yeah, it's a tall order. And whenever I give MJ these like crazy ideas of people I want to go after, and he always laughs at me. I haven't landed a single one of them yet. So, but
keep pushing.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep pushing because I'm gonna get somebody out. Because I had a UFC guy that wanted to come on and do the boa thing with me and kind of do boa talk. But like, I don't know, like the Theo Von one, there'd probably be a benefit because anybody who likes Theo Von would probably want to watch it just out of curiosity. But also at the same time, like it could be a complete flop. Like his name might not be enough. And then I got to ask myself, what am I getting out of that? Am I going to maybe get a few more followers I don't pay attention to? Like, is it going to expand my base? But really, I think he's an entertaining guy and I like being a little silly sometimes. I think we could probably have a pretty interesting conversation. I think the week I was making this argument, I brought up the episode where he brought on like a carny worker one time. Then I was like, if a carny worker can get this guy or get on that show, maybe I'm good enough to get on this show. But no, I do like the idea of like, raising the bar and maybe try to find some, celebrities outside of the industry. But no, I haven't sealed anything yet at all. Yeah,
I actually start watching or listening to Theo's show after that clip, and it's a pretty good show. Like it's funny. Like I just kind of like how I like his approach to it, right? Like he'll ask some random question and you'd be like, "What the fuck?" But it'll make you laugh just because it's funny the way he said it, and then the way he reads his ads too. Like that's funny as hell.
No, I think his reasoning and his questions is amazing because, like, if people don't take to the question right away, he almost looks a little confused. Like, not I don't know how to explain it, but like how don't you understand what I'm asking you right now, kind of thing, maybe. But no, I think Theo Von's entertaining. I think he had Andrew Schultz on last week. I listened to some of that. I don't know if you guys caught the Andrew Schultz stand up on Netflix, but I've watched it twice. It's actually really good.
That is hilarious.
Yeah, really loved it. I mean, I had the girlfriend rolling. The girlfriend sometimes purposely doesn't laugh, but no, she was laughing her ass off that entire time. So, but no, I like all that stuff, and like. I always I write a lot of jokes that I never share with anybody. Like there's a few people I do, a couple of them might be watching, but some of these people in my inner circle just get these really random things from me, like in the middle of the night, like that. Adeline and Chris call it Dave after 9, because usually at that point, my day's over. I'm going to smoke a little bit and I'm going to probably say something weird. But sometimes I write that stuff down and I have worked stupid things I say by myself into some of my podcasts, all nonchalantly. I look like I'm really fucking clever, but really it's been in my back pocket for like 6 months. But yeah, no, I don't know, man. Like I said, we talked a lot about the podcast thing. I really enjoyed our conversation. We stepped to the side. It was probably like a 5-minute conversation, but like, having a vision bigger than just what this is, trying to find a way to make something that 100 other people do better. Mm-hmm. And now this is kind of a cocky thing to say, but I got a great personality. It makes up for everything else about me. I'm like a 6 from top to bottom in the pants. Nothing about me exceeds a 6, buddy. So I don't know if I was just trying to make a small penis joke. Not that 6 is small; it's actually above average. But yeah, I don't even know what we're talking about. I think laughter goes a long way in conversation, and like anytime that I can kind of break a serious conversation with maybe an off the wall joke, I always enjoy that because I feel like the podcast gets a little looser then, and I get a lot of people that do podcasts with me that this is really gay, man, but I'm trying to take a lot of guys' virginity in this hobby for these podcasts. And if you've never done one, I want to get you on mine first. And I always tell people, and they always do that little, I hope they're not listening, but, oh, I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't. I don't think it's for me. And I'm like, no, you're going to love this. I'm going to hold your hand. I'm going to treat you right. And they all come on. They all have a great time. So I got to keep that going the way I'm doing it, I guess. But really just kind of, again, back to your brand and talking to your brand, like, I enjoyed the vision side. I like the way that you looked at it. And what was the advice you gave me? Because not that I forgot, but when you don't have, I can't give up your work. You know what I'm talking about. You gave me the clue of like,
I don't remember.
Yeah, when you hit a stopping point and you're not really sure what to say next, and if there's like a moment of quiet, you say a word. It's like a 1-word answer, but it gets them to say more about what they were saying. And gives you a little more time to think of the next question if you don't have anything lined up. One of us is going to remember this because it was a very meaningful moment. But the fact that you don't remember.
Yeah, I do that like a lot. Like I'll say just like some kind of like filler word like that's what's up, or just
filler words. Yes.
Yeah. Just something to buy a little bit more time just to hop back on it real quick. Like in my head, I'm thinking, and then I'll say like that. It buys a little bit more time, and then usually you can jump to the next thing and just kind of keep the conversation going. Some people it's easier to talk to than others. Like some people, it's like pulling teeth. Definitely not gonna say any names, but some people it's really hard to like carry on the conversation with. Whereas other people, like they make it super easy. Like yourself, for example, like you make it super easy because you just talk and you keep the conversation going, and then it just becomes like a natural vibe. It's hard when you have to like pull information out somebody, especially to get like 2-3 word answers. You're like, damn, now I got to talk about myself.
Right. Are they answered that question and then sit there after they're done answering that question?
Yeah. I mean, as hosts, it's our job to guide. Like if there's, so and it is a lot of pressure, and like, you know, we could fail at it. My go-to move is just dead silence and just straight up saying, I don't know what to talk about until like 4 seconds roll by, and then boom, there's another conversation. But I will say, like, you know, I love hosting, but like the one thing with my hosting, I think I told you, is I don't want to talk. I want to steer the conversation. People listen to me talk enough. My job is to get the best out of the person I'm talking to across from me, and it is less about me. And, you know, there are certain conversations like when me and Junior from JMG Reptiles just riff back and forth for 3 hours when our guest doesn't show up. Those are some of my favorite podcasts because me and that guy can talk. But I don't need to hear myself talk on these podcasts. I just need to bring out the best of the person across from me, because you guys can hear me whenever you want. It's about the person we have on. So hosting podcasts are fairly easy, in my opinion, as long as you don't make it about you. And also, we know I could talk for 4 hours if we wanted to right now. It's nice to have that in your back pocket when you're only trying to put in like 30 or 40 words over 2 hours.
100%. Like I like on Clutch Conversations, I don't like to be the main focal point. I want the guests to be the main focal point. Like, obviously, I'm going to steer the conversation. I'm going to ask questions. I'm going to ask follow-up questions. And I'm going to chip in, like, here and there. But I really want it to be about showcasing the guests. I do like to talk, but I don't want Clutch Conversations to be all about me. That's what Double Clutch for. Like, because then me and Matt, we going back and forth, and we talking about a specific subject. And I'm supposed to be talking. You know what I mean? It's a whole different dynamic. So that's why I like doing both of them, because it do give me an opportunity to actually say more on the microphone during Double Clutch. Sometimes that can get me in trouble, but
not if you don't read the comments, buddy.
Yeah.
No, I hear what you're saying. You know what? And another thing with me is I lack shame. Like, the more I embarrass myself that gets people for cheap laughs, I'm very okay with. And like, there's probably certain things I shouldn't say, but if you corner me at Tinley and there's a group of people, there's not too much I wouldn't say in that small group of people I hardly knew that I wouldn't be willing to say on this. I don't know if my mom listens to my stuff. I hope not. There's probably some shit I say that I'm sure she's fine with it. Trust me. I didn't turn out this way for no reason. But yeah, I don't know, man. I lack of shame. I do think about what I'm going to say, but man, if I convince myself it might be funny, I'm not going to not say it. And it's testing the waters, man. Like, you know, if you go back and watch like Theo Vaughn on Joe Rogan, like there's times where like Theo Vaughn would say like a joke about the moment, and Joe Rogan would just stare at him. I get that on podcasts a lot. Like, they don't all hit, man. A lot of them, they hit in my head. They don't all hit when you throw them out there. Could be my segue. My segues are bad. Like, I don't properly segue into a joke. You know, did you guys listen to the Protect Our Balls episode that William, Justin, Bob, and Chad did?
Not yet. I saw that you guys did it, but I haven't listened to it yet.
So first off, it's a great group of guys. To get these people all together to fuck around, what an awesome experience. Second off, that's my second episode for Protect Our Balls, and you guys understand where that name came from with the Protect Our Parks from Joe Rogan. I'm kind of stealing it a little bit. but I'm trying to create it as a tradition, and I want it to be it's kind of a lame way of putting it, but a vibe setter going into the big show weekends. So, we did the first one before Daytona. It was hilarious. We said some stuff we probably shouldn't have said. Some people loved it. Some people hated it. But it was a really good conversation. And the same thing with this past one, leading into Tinley, we're having real conversations about genes, and you're hearing it from Bob, Justin, William Morose, who's listening right now, and Chad Halker. And these are all guys that are in their own space in the hobby that have their own opinions about projects. And when we get these conversations going, things loosen up a little bit. And then we always try to have a little playtime at the end where we're really just coming off the cuff and talking about non-reptile stuff sometimes. But that's like the one little thing, because you're talking about my clutch and my double clutch. Protect our balls is like my only little thing right now. Like that little thing I want to like create a tradition. And it's always going to be Bob, William Morose, and Chad Halker. And we're always going to bring another guy on. I don't know who we're going to do next time. We were him and Han about bringing Brock Wagner on. I'd love to have Miguel on in the future. I'd like to talk to Ozzy. I want to work around, but I only don't want to do like 3 of these episodes a year. I want it to be something that people look forward to. But, just trying to create a tradition, I guess is the way of putting it.
Yeah, that makes sense. I definitely got to check that out. I want to see those off-topic conversations, and that's one of the things too with doing podcasting. Like I love talking about reptiles. I love having the reptile podcast, but on occasion I want to do a little something off-topic too, just because it's fun, and I feel like that's a way to really like push me in terms of like growth, like doing something different. You know what I'm saying? It's like if you go to the gym every day or however many times you work out during the week and you just lift 135 every day, you're not gonna really get that much stronger. But if you start adding weight, then you'd be rocked up like, damn.
No, that's fair. This doesn't really compute because I focus on gland muscles, so I'm 110. I never go any bigger, man.
It's funny how a lot of people have other interests that correlate with each other outside of the reptile community, though, too. Because I think, like at Southeast, me and Dave were talking about fishing. You know what I mean? More than we were talking about snakes. And if I'm up in the area where he's at, we'll get together and go fishing because he's big into fishing as well. And so I think a lot of people have crossover hobbies, you know what I mean? Like you were saying with the plants as well, and the bioactive enclosures and stuff that draws in, another hobby that kind of marries with our hobby,
No, we all have an interest outside of this. Luckily, this is one interest that brings people from a lot of different aspects of life together, but we still have our other shit. I have enough hobbies that I can relate to most people. Like if you come over to my table, I always say I'm probably going to find something to talk to you about. And if it's something I really enjoy talking about, we'll talk for hours. But no, I'm always chatting people up. I'm talking sports. I'm talking fishing, talking outdoors, talking animal projects. Like, this is like one of my best sales pitches I've ever given people, and it's a common sense deal. The longer you can keep people at your table staring at your animals, the more of a chance you have at closing a sale. Also, this was a car salesman advice from my father, but he always said that if somebody comes on the car lot, they're looking to buy a car, and if they like you, they're going to buy the car from you. Same thing when it comes to a reptile show. There are a lot of reptiles and a lot of people working with the same thing. Sometimes it's you as a person that is separating you from the other guy getting the sale.
That's a fact.
100%.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's not a bad idea to look at their watch. If it's a really nice watch, assume they got a little bit of money. But you gotta know if it's a bootleg. You gotta get good at looking at those watches.
Hey, I got a brother here because I wasn't supposed to be on tonight and deal with some kids because my wife's best friend is in town staying with us. But it was nice talking with y'all.
But I appreciate y'all having me too.
Thanks for coming on, Dave. I'm gonna let y'all. I'm gonna tap in from the phone.
No,
sure.
thank you, man.
Hey, Marcus, before you get out, let everybody know where they can find you.
Yeah, absolutely. Hit me up on Instagram. That's my main platform I run, but we're on Facebook and we're on TikTok. We're on just about everything. So find me there, smash my like button, and I'll definitely follow you back and support everybody. So I appreciate y'all letting me dip in and fill some time.
Yeah, I appreciate you hopping on, bro. Take it easy.
You too, guys. Thank you.
Thank you for bailing me out, guys.
Mine is Instagram slow morph, Facebook slow morph, morph market slow morph, IG slow morphs. All right.
Slow morphs everywhere. Yeah. But yeah, man, yes, it's interesting. And like I said, I do be wanting to do some different stuff from time to time. And so like last week's episode was just a perfect example of just like doing something different, like a little something outside of the box. I don't know. Are you familiar with Freeway, Ricky Ross?
I probably will if I look at it. I might not be. I might be. Like I thought I did, but I'd be bullshitting you. I'm gonna Google it. You keep on talking though.
Oh yeah, don't bullshit me, bro. Man, I'll just tell you.
Well, yeah, you just tell me who he is, and I'll be like, oh yeah, I knew that, but I might not.
So he the real Rick Ross. So I know you heard of like Rick Ross, the rapper.
Like Rick Ross, right?
Say again?
Like Rick Ross?
Yeah, like Rick Ross, like Rose.
Musician, right?
Say again?
Musician?
The rapper is.
Okay.
But the real Rick Ross is not a musician. Like he was a guy. So he started selling drugs back in the 80s, right? Okay. And like he was moving like a lot, like in South Central LA, like at the height of his kind of career in that industry. He was doing like $1 million a day, and on good days he'll hit like $3.2 million a day. So like big time. Like they estimate over like the whole time he was doing it, he probably made like $900 million. So crazy numbers, right? So he ended up getting jammed up a couple times. One time got a life sentence, but was able to get it like reduced because of some misunderstandings and misapplication of the law, because they didn't understand the difference between like the 3 strikes rule, how it was intended, because they thought that just because he had like 3 strikes in 3 different states, that counted against him in the 3 strikes rule. But he was able to like really like study up and show in court that he was arrested he wasn't arrested 3 different times. It's not like he got arrested, went to jail, served some time, got out, went to jail again, got out, went to jail again. And so he was able to get his sentence reduced. And so he got out like for good back in 2009. And then since then, he's like moved on to doing other things. Like he's written a book, he's got a documentary. He's working with folks in the neighborhood, because he was a big time. He was a tennis player too. He was a pretty good tennis player at that. And then he's also got like a legal marijuana dispensary. He also manages like boxers as well. So he's doing a lot of different stuff now. But that's who the rapper Rick Ross got his name from. And they actually went to court about it. He lost it in court, but they did go to court about it. But he was on the show last weekend. And so that was pretty cool.
How'd you land that guy? Were you friends with him, or you just hit him up?
I just hit him up, bro. It was pretty straightforward.
Okay, cool.
But
cool.
The other 2, the plot twist too that I didn't add is he didn't know this at the time, but actually the sales that he was making was illegal drugs that was brought into the country by the U.S. government to fund the Iran-Contra wars.
Yeah, it's very curious how that kind of stuff works out. There was Fast and the Furious when Obama was in office. We were selling like the Mexican cartel weapons. Like I don't know if it was old military weapons, but it was probably something military related. All that stuff's kind of crazy. I started. It's gonna sound kind of bad, and by the way, I don't really have a side. Too afraid to say it anymore, but so my dad passed away in 2021, and in 2020 in December, he gives me a call on the phone one night, and I knew he's a little under the weather, and this was COVID time, but like I guess in my family, the way the men work in my family is we all just handle our shit, and if somebody's got a cold, you're not calling to check on his cold. So it was a few days in, maybe it was almost like 10 days in, he calls me. The man talks more than I do, and he wasn't talking. Very light breath, very short. Like you knew immediately something was wrong. And then at the end of the conversation, he was like, do you have Donald Trump's phone number, email address? And I was like, what? And he's all like, well, I wanted to talk to him about the election. Now, first off, we don't talk politics in my family, never did. We always voted Democrat as far as I was aware. Not that any of that matters anymore. And it was just such a wrong question to ask. In that moment, I was like, there's something wrong. So, like, you know, the chaos factor of COVID made life a lot harder. But, like, I called my little brother and I'm like, hey, you need to get over to Dad's house. You got to get him in the hospital. I was like, there's something wrong. I don't know what it is, but I was like, there's something wrong with the guy. And my brother's like, I can't do it. I got COVID. They said he's just got to lay in bed and recover. And I'm all like, nah, I'm going to buy a plane ticket because they're down in Florida and Tampa area. Don't get sad, by the way. It's not a sad story. Might be sad for some. But like, get the call, or like, I'm like, here's the deal. I'm hanging up the phone, and in 15 minutes, you're on the way when I call back, or I'm calling 911 and you're going to have to split an ambulance with me, and neither of us can afford that. Call him back. He's like, I'm heading over there now. And this is like 10 o'clock at night. Put my head on the pillow. I wake up at 2 a.m. I'm on a flight at 5 a.m. When I woke up at 2 a.m, his brother called me, my uncle, or he sent me a text, and he's like, I can't believe he has a brain tumor. Just like that. Went to bed, woke up to that. Now, mind you, not a happy situation. But the reason I bring that up is him asking that weird question. I think the 7 months that I took care of him when he was sick, for the first time in my entire life, I turned politics on, and I've never been able to turn it off. I don't look at it as a negative. I don't vote. I'll never register to vote. But I just want to hear the conversations being had by everybody right now, from all sides, all perspectives. You know, the reason I stumbled across Theo Vaughn. But I think that question he asked me in that moment of whatever that was did something to me that I politic now, but I don't talk about politics. It's like, I don't mind it. I don't think it's a bad thing to talk about, but like, who the fuck wants to talk politics? But no, yeah, like I said, it was a weird deal, but there was so much chaos going on in the world at that point, and a lot going on, and just haven't turned it off and haven't stopped paying attention since.
Yeah, I'm the same way as far as like not talking politics. Like I see stuff and I see it from both sides, and I see like I even see similarities in terms of how people react to like certain stuff, like their triggers. I see the same things. But I don't dive into the political conversation with people because I've never seen anything good come from it. I just stay out of it.
That's probably best, and that's the sad thing. I always wonder about you know, if you say something enough times, it becomes real. You know, I almost wonder if none of us were ever even supposed to pay attention to politics. And when a pop culture guy like Trump gets in office, it just made people, I think, pay a little more attention. Whether they remember the Howard Stern movie back in the day.
Nah.
So they got a scene in that movie where it's one of the networks talking about him, and nobody liked Howard Stern. He was gross. He was saying crazy shit. And like the guys all like, well, his numbers just came out. And they're like, what are the numbers? And they're all like, well, people on average, or people that like him are watching it for an hour and 40 minutes on average a day. And the guy's like, well, what about the people that don't like him? And he's like, well, they watch him for 2.5 hours a day. And both sides said the same thing. They want to hear what he says next. And I think that's what happened to politics, is it just became so pop culture in a sense that there's just more people paying attention now than ever before. And I can't guarantee this time is any crazier than it was 20 years ago, to be honest with you, because everything seems to be, I don't know, what we've already done before, I guess. Another war, another stupid bill, another stupid this. It's always just been the same thing. Just if it ain't on your side, it's bad. But when your side does it, it's good. And that goes for both sides. And that's politics nowadays.
Yeah. That's what I was getting at too earlier. Just seeing like some of the same things on both sides. So I just stay out of it. You know what I mean? I do my thing and stay out of that piece of it. But yeah, that's interesting. The people that don't like him listen to him for even longer, which is not surprising though, by any stretch.
No. And by the way, I don't really want to talk about it, but like, I always like to make, references of people, and like, Yeah, I've always kind of said that Darian coming into the hobby was a lot like Elon buying Twitter. Same vibe, a lot of that same energy, and it just kind of carried through. And I don't mean that in a negative. I don't necessarily mean that in a positive, but like, you know, I always say that you're like a Justin Quebeca is kind of like our what's that Facebook guy?
Mark Zuckerberg.
Yeah, he's got that Zuckerberg vibe. He's doing jujitsu and he's got all this technical stuff. Well, not all technical, a lot of his ball pythons, but it's technical. But I've always kind of got that vibe from him based on his company. And, you know, I've always joked around that Darian gives that Elon vibe off, but now that vibe is getting so inappropriate in people's eyes that I don't even think I can make that reference anymore. You know, I'd hate for somebody to start Morph Market on fire.
Yeah, when Darian came in, a lot of people kind of got up in arms. I mean, I talked to him a couple times, and I don't got no problem with him.
I got no problem with anybody. Like I said, I talk to everybody. I relate to most people in the hobby. And if I don't relate to you, I just might not talk to you, and you wouldn't even know the difference. And I've always said it, if I didn't like you, you wouldn't even know it. I just don't really feel like that's necessary. You know, I always tell, I don't have any energy in me to not like people. And I just put a little minimal amount of the energy into maybe avoiding a couple people. And that stresses me out so much. I really wish I didn't have to do that half time.
Yeah, it's not worth it. Like spending that much time on negativity is not worth it. It's draining. It takes a lot of energy. It's so much easier to focus on things that make you happy.
No. If the amount of time we put into that, we put into our business, I think we'd all be better off.
100%.
You know, I tell people all the time, but like the evolution of the hobby, even the last 5 years, what it's moved into, what things you can do now with shed testing, clutch, and all these other softwares of like, you know, keep an eye on what you're working on. There's just a lot of advances that are happening. And there's some people that get left behind like me because I'm so stubborn about technology. Like it's almost like a badge of honor to have never have owned a computer, but you know, I'm kind of an asshole for not owning a computer.
So that Mac that you got, that was your first computer?
Well, I found it in a closet my buddy left behind at our old house. So I was all like, "Yay, I got a computer." I was like, "Fuck yeah!" And then I can't get I couldn't get the camera to activate. Like I kind of looked in the settings, but I'm dumb. I don't know this kind of stuff, man. You know, before we got rolling on that Protect Our Balls episode 2, I was trying to change my background for my green screen I can't use right now. And I had a whole fucking green screen ready for this thing. But literally, like, everybody is like waiting in the room and you just see me doing this over and over again, to the point where like MJ was on me. He's like, "Man, you got to figure this fucking shit out." He's like, "Is this a joke right now?" He's like, "Just hit the fucking button and get this thing going." But yeah, no,
you running the show like behind the scenes, you doing like all the work behind the scenes yourself?
What do you mean by behind the scenes work?
Like controlling the comments, going live.
Oh, I told you no. I've never even seen a comment roll in the background of a podcast. I've never brought a comment up. So I don't see any of that.
Too?
In the live too? No, I do it on the phone a lot of times, and there's nothing here. I can't see anything that's going on this little screen.
Now,
and
do you like go live? Like, do you start the stream?
No, I'm sorry. I need my hand held. MJ holds my hand. I don't do any of that stuff. I brought the laptop to Tinley this week, and I was going to have him give me a crash course on how to do it. But the reality is, when I start my show, MJ's got to be there to start it for me. Gotcha. In the last podcast I did, Herp House Rock, I did like 40 or 50 episodes with Benjamin and Ryan with R&B Reptiles. I showed up. I turned my phone on. I had a conversation. I don't edit. I don't do comments. I don't do intros. I just enjoy the conversation. Would I like to be better than that? Yes. And if I can get this camera working on this computer, I will be. But if I don't figure out this camera thing, this is it now. I'm not going to upgrade this at all.
So that phone probably looks better than the camera on that Mac is going to look, because I imagine it's not. Is it a new Mac? Like, what is it?
Well, I think MJ joked around and said it looked old as fuck. It maybe jokingly is like a 2012, but
oh yeah, that phone is gonna look better than that camera.
Probably, but like I found like this like fucking thing in a this is the laptop. I found this. I don't even know if that works,
Oh, yeah,
man.
that look like my laptop from undergrad.
Oh yeah, respect, man. This thing's heavy. Like this thing exceeds that 110 pounds I'm willing to lift, man.
It's got a camera on it.
Don't they all? Like,
don't use that one, bro. Like, you'll be much better off with the phone.
Yeah, I gotta find a plug for that one. But I was borrowing Mike Schultz's computer for a few of these, and I'll be honest, the green screen feature alone, man, I love that green screen because I'm always adding props to my stuff and like throwing things in the background. Be able to change my background every time and having fun with it. Like, I enjoyed that luxury while it lasted like 3 episodes. But I'll do something eventually. It's just I'm stubborn, man. And like I said, I've just gone so long without doing a thing. Like there's a lot of other things I'm not going to say I don't do, but there's a lot of things I've never watched Brokeback Mountain, and I never will, buddy. It's one of those things. I just never wanted to watch Brokeback Mountain. It's not like I'm anti-gay. Half the hobby thinks I'm gay. I like dangling that fruit out there, but certain things I'm really weird about, and that's one thing that I just said I'd never watch the movie. And then the fact that I've gone this long without really owning a computer, I wonder how much longer I can go. Like, I might be able to push it another couple years, maybe.
Yeah, but like you were saying when we talked in Atlanta, like not this past show, but the show before that, you talked about the actual content of the show. And so I know like the podcast that I've heard you on, it's a lot of good content.
I feel like I make up in conversation what I lack in production value, I guess is the way of putting it. Yeah. If I could find a way to merge that together, I could have an actual show. I might not. I don't know. A little lazy. Not lazy, just stubborn. But, and I've already said this at the beginning, showing up late because I don't know the difference between Eastern and Central time was rude. Should not have been late to your show. Like when you messaged me at like 7:20 my time, asked me what was up, I was thinking, I'll be there in 10 minutes for a sound check, buddy. We're good. No stress. I was really like nonchalant about it. I was talking to you like I wasn't late. And then I got here and I started connecting the dots when I saw the live show, and I'm like, oh, I did the same thing to Chris Eaton, man. I rolled up 40 minutes late for that one too. I think I had technical difficulties at my house, so I had to run to the bowling alley to do it at the bowling alley. And then you guys watched that whole thing, which, by the way,
I saw that.
Love doing podcasts in that bowling alley parking lot. Like that was like, you ever watch my old podcast, Herp House Rock?
I haven't seen that. Nah.
That's fine. You want to know why you haven't? I never told anybody I did it. Like literally, we knocked out 50 episodes, and I didn't tell anybody about it. If you found it kind of thing. But no, it was good, man. I had like Greg Graziani on there back in the day when he was like not willing to do podcasts. It was like his first one in like 4 years. I don't think he's done one since. I think I did that from a bed and breakfast when I was herping. I had like Bob Applegate on, who's a big guy in that community for like colubrids. We actually had some pretty unique guests on the show. It was never hard to find a good person who wanted to talk. I find it harder now. People seem more reluctant to do podcasts today than they did 4 years ago.
Why do you think that is?
One, I think they get asked by 100 different people to do it. I think there's so many players in the game right now that it's not an oversaturated market. Everyone's product is so different. Anybody could find somebody they can relate to and find a podcast they like. But, I always talk about it. We talked about it. One of the holy grails is Ralph Davis. The other one, Tracy Barker. We all want it. We all have our angle on how to get it. And none of us are getting them. Because those people don't see the value in it. And, my argument is people don't read anymore. They'll listen to a podcast in a year, as long as it's not a current event podcast. So I'm going to get Ralph. Someone's getting Ralph, man. And we talked about this, and I told you my angle, and I told you keep that shit to yourself. But I told you it's a nostalgia thing for me, man. It was the first true reptile collection where I was invited in, and I shouldn't even have been invited in, man. Like, he was just so fucking nice, and it was his birthday, And here I am because I'm too fucking cheap to pay for shipping. I had someone make a call because I was in Maryland, and he allowed me to meet him in his driveway to pick up these animals. And, you know, I mentioned to you, like, it was small talk. And then I brought fishing up because he brought up fishing. And then I brought up the banjo minnow, and he walked in the house and he came back out and he unwrapped a package, and it was a brand new set of banjo minnows he just got on for pond fishing. And then he showed me his whole collection. He showed me his office. He showed me the freak boa. He showed me this little pond he had in his house that he would rescue little turtles while fishing, let them grow up a little bit, and then re-release them. He had the old blue Dodge Viper still on his property back then. He had some like old Hurricane t-shirts from the Ralph Davis Hurricane show down in Daytona. Can't remember the name of the hurricane that weekend. I got the full fucking experience, and he even showed me some stuff that like was brand new that to this day, and that was like 2007 or 8, I've never seen that animal ever again. And he had multiples. So I don't know if they went to Europe or what happened, but I followed his career so closely. I just feel like I'll give him a good episode because I feel like I know the right things to say and wrong things to say. And I was talking to William Philippek, and he told me, and I might have mentioned this to you, that the last Ralph Davis podcast was with the guy. I don't know who that guy was. If you're listening, you really fucked it up for the rest of us. It was such a bad interview, and Ralph was so frustrated. The guy didn't know who he was really, that he literally called him out. I heard in the middle of the episode, like, do you not know who I am? Like, did you just invite me on this thing? And I think that left a bad taste in his mouth also. Whoever that is, let me know who you are so I can start fucking with you. I'm going to make some memes, buddy. You really ruined us. But yeah, dude, like, you know, I have a portfolio and I have a hit list, man. And I expect to get my hits. I expect to complete my list. And Tracy Barker is somebody I've always had a lot of respect for. And Ralph Davis, there's a little sentimental value there. If I can get those two, I'll be happy. And I won't stop until I get until I get them both.
Get both of them, bro. Like,
Yeah.
Ralph is a hard pull. Tracy, I've heard, is another hard pull. But yeah, I hope it works out for you, bro.
I hope it works out for you too, man. And good luck, but you're not going to get them before me. You keep on trying, buddy. But it ain't going to happen. I've heard of a few heavy hitters out there trying to get that guy that are way more popular than us, and it didn't work out. But
It didn't work. Yeah, it's hard.
Yeah, it's. You know what the thing is too? I think with some of these guys, like, I don't think they seen the benefit of having a conversation when they're not, in their opinion, relevant as much in the hobby anymore. Like, not so much who wants to hear from me, but like, do I care?
Right.
Like, not by me, do they? Like, do they care to have a conversation when they're not active? I don't know what the breaker is. And I do understand that not everybody wants to be seen on camera. I get a lot of no's. But I do come back and try again. And I've got those no's to become yeses over time. And they always have good experiences. But again, there's a lot of players in the game right now doing this. And, you know, why pick any of us? Like, what is it about that one person that's going to finally make that person say yes? And I look at that at every person that's difficult to get on a podcast.
So I think like the value add to like some of those people coming on a show, like nowadays, like maybe they're not like in the forefront or whatever in terms of like being out on social media and stuff like that. But I think that's the reason why they should come on like some of these podcasts, you know what I mean? Come on the right podcast, just because I think it's important, right, to understand the history of the industry. I'm not saying you got to like everybody and agree with everybody and this, that, and the third, but I do think there's value in knowing about and understanding some history. So that's the value add piece that I see.
That is probably the most common thing I get when people approach me at a show and say they watch the podcast is they love the history aspect of it. They love the old stories. And, you know, the podcast game is like really a young guy in the hobby game, in my opinion. Like, there's not a lot of guys in the hobby that have been doing this for 20, 30 years that say, you know what, I'm going to make a fucking podcast. Like, it just doesn't happen. And some of the OGs that were doing it, like Nick Mutton was a player. Like, he did a lot of podcasts. I mean, Nick Mutton, man, I've had him on for 2 podcasts after wanting to talk to him for years. First one I did it with William Philippek. It went like 3.5 to 4 hours. every 15 minutes I said, we got to stop, because I was on a trip playing hockey, and I was like, we're done. And then we'd roll for 20 more minutes, and we just never stopped. And then I had him on again on Junior's Friday show, his Colubra show for JMG Reptiles, and it was another 3.5-hour conversation that was completely different than the last one, because the guy is so knowledgeable. He can carry on a conversation about any topic you want to bring up. And we push back a little bit on some of these conversations. You say something I don't necessarily think is right. I want to hear your reasoning behind it. And when you push back on somebody that believes in something, man, you get a lot out of them. Like, that's my advice. Like, a little bit of pushback sometimes on something that somebody already knows too much about, you're going to realize they know even more about it after you push back a hair. But no, like I said, making this more about me. I feel like I'm just promoting myself right now. But like I said,
bro.
No, it's fair. It's fair. And we'll have to do this again, because I feel like I owe you one. I didn't put on any sunglasses. I just look bald as fuck right now. Like, there's a furry hat over there I was going to wear. I had a cat shirt lined up. Like, these things, like, I put a lot of thought into these things, man. And I didn't give you that full experience I try to put into all these, man. I no American flags, like nothing. So we'll definitely, and this isn't me saying goodbye by any means. You let me know when it's over, but like, in the future, I would like to give you the full experience and not the balding green screen experience I gave you today. I think I could have done better. But so who do you have coming up on your guest list?
So next week we got so we do like about every quarter or so, like me, Matt, Justin, so 2 guys who's just on here, Jaffe, and then Steven from Morphs Constrictors. We doing like our quarterly episode next week, and I forgot what topic we're gonna talk about. I need to look because I need to get prepped for it, or at least like get my mind going for it, if that makes sense. And then I got Epic Style coming up soon, and I have to look at my list to see who else we got.
Fair. What's your hit list other than trying to take Ralph Davis from me?
Who would I like to get on that I haven't gotten on? It would be nice to get Tracy on. It would be nice to get a full interview with Lori. I interviewed her for like 15 minutes at AnimalCon.
Respect.
So it'd be nice. It'll be nice to get a full interview with her. I don't know. Like I've like in the ball python world, like I've gotten a lot of people on the show.
No.
I'm trying to think of somebody who I haven't got. I mean, it's a couple people who have told me no. Like I kind of got like a 3-ask rule. Like if I ask 3 times, you say no, I just kind of chill on it. It's no hard feelings because I understand like some people just don't do podcasts and they don't like coming on this, that, and the third. But I'll definitely ask the question. But if I get told no like 3 times, I just kind of like hang it up. At least for now.
If I get the no, I'll then go to somebody who I know very well that knows that person really well, and I'll make them sell me to them, and that has worked for me.
Yeah, that's worked for me before too.
Yeah, so that's the other angle I play, and I hate not being a man about it, but like, whatever it takes to close. Like, just
I don't tie that to manhood. It's just you gotta. I mean, it's your network, right?
I mean, not having the balls to ask myself is me bringing the manhood thing up. Like, making someone else run my errands for me is what I mean by that.
You don't ask them the first time, like you just have to.
Sometimes I do ask first time, and here's the thing, like Craig Trumbauer is a good example. I sent Craig Trumbauer a message on Facebook, and Craig Trumbauer at all?
No.
He has a long white beard. He's a Colubra guy, real old school guy, very knowledgeable. I messaged on Facebook. He read it, and I hate that feature about Facebook, and he never replied. So I let that shit go for about 6 months to a year, and then my buddy Dennis McNamara is good friends with Craig. So I was like, hey, man, I hate to make you do this for me, but would you just bring up what I do and maybe let him know he'll enjoy it? And great podcast. Went for like 2-3 hours. I know a lot of times you try to keep this thing 2 hours. I know there's something about the algorithm that helps a little more. And I do sometimes get people say they wish they were a little shorter conversations. but I don't carry on for an hour and a half after 2 hours because I'm trying to fill space. I'm carrying on for another hour, hour and a half because we keep on segueing into something else that I don't want to abruptly stop it.
Yeah.
If the conversation flow is good, like on my first podcast, the way I did it was when we hit a wall, and you know when it hits a wall, I would just call it out. I'd be like, hey guys, we peaked. It's over. We're wrapping it up. We done. And I did that for every episode, and every episode ran for a different amount of time. And, you know, I even brought it up recently, but like, you know, I did a podcast with Brian Potter and Bob Ashley one time. And after the podcast was over, I called them and said, hey, we're not going to air this because that was the shittiest conversation we could have had. Because it was Bob Ashley and Brian Potter are very different people with very different interests outside the hobby and very different interests inside the hobby.
Yeah, different personalities and everything.
Yeah, so it shouldn't have been a Bob Ashley, Brian Potter episode. It should have been a Bob Ashley episode and a Brian Potter episode. And that's the reality with that because the flow wasn't there and it just felt wrong. And here's the thing. It got done. I hit up Potter. I'm like, hey, can we just not air this? And I just wasted a couple hours of your time. And he's like, no problem. Fuck that episode. Like, and I had Potter on one more time. I think Potter was actually my last Herp House Rock episode ever was with Potter. No, like I said, sometimes that chemistry is not there. And, you know, that's another thing that I'm sure you do the same thing with, but like, I like to bring different people on that I think would relate to my guest maybe a little more than I might sometimes, because I think that also breaks the ice for the guest I have on. And then I just get in when I need to get in. And then sometimes I throw random people in the conversation because I think it's going to create a better conversation. But sometimes I just put 5 guys in a room that shouldn't have been in a room together, and the chemistry is not there like it is in my head. So I do experiment a little bit. Like I said, I'm not the star of the show. And I don't think any of us hosting this should ever look at it that way. So as somebody who's trying not to be the host, again, what can I do to bring out the best in this conversation from these guys? And it's worked out where I put randos together and everyone's chemistry is amazing. But I've had some where I put it together and it's like, man, this just doesn't work.
Yeah, managing like multiple guests at once, like I do a lot of the state property episodes where I'll bring on like 3 people from a specific state, you know what I mean? And we'll have a conversation. The way I like to do it as far as like booking that, I like for like personalities to go good. So I'll like go to like one person and say, hey, thinking about doing the state property episode, who would you want with you on that episode? And we started talking about it, you know what I mean? And then we kind of come up with the rest of the panel from there because I want it to be a good conversation. And so I want the guests to jive with each other, because if I go ask like person A and then I go ask person B and I go ask person C and like person A don't rock with person C, or it's just kind of like a weird dynamic, I feel like that makes the episode just kind of stiff. Like it don't flow as good as I would like for it to flow.
You got to experiment, you know, see what happens. Do you know the name Ron St. Pierre? He's a big breeder down in Florida. Like I think he's worked with over 100 species, near 200 species. Big monitor guy at one point.
I was just about to say, I feel like I heard the name, but I'm not really familiar.
Old school Florida guy is the way you put it. So my buddy William Philippek, who's probably listened to every one of your podcasts you've ever done, is probably listening to this right now, or at least he will soon. He really loves Ron St. Pierre, has a lot of respect for Ron St. Pierre. So I set up an episode with him, and Ron St. Pierre. Well, Ron St. Pierre is also friends with a guy named John Carlson. John Carlson found the first ever desert ghost. He found, I think, the first ever banana went to him before it went to Will Slaw. And there's been some other very unique animals that have come through the import trade that he's been the guy who's picked them out. Ron St. Pierre is the same way, and those guys go back for a long way. John didn't really want to do a podcast, but I'm good friends with John. And I talked him into it, but he was just, sometimes those guys in that sphere don't want their conversations to be public. So there was a little tiptoeing, and we didn't use a lot of names. I try to avoid names in a lot of conversations, but I brought him in. And then, do you know Mike Schultz?
Name sounds familiar.
You stir shit up on Facebook sometimes. He worked with Outback Reptiles for years. So all those dinkers that came in the country, mystery bags, whatever else, a lot of that was him while working with that company and helping out. So he knows the import game and export game better than a lot of people I know. So then we incorporated him in the conversation. So it went from 3 of us to John Carlson to now let's get Mike Schultz in, because I'm at Mike Schultz's house anyways. And it didn't make a bad conversation, but I took away from William getting that chance to talk to Ron St. Pierre the way he wanted, because it just became like this conversation that kind of did what it did. And I hate to say it, my buddy Will was probably the quietest guy on there because I took that away from him. So I got to make that up and make another one. But that's, again, me trying to create an atmosphere, and sometimes you just go too far. But you got to try to find out if it's going to work or not going to work.
Yeah, you got to tinker with stuff, and then you go back and figure out what works, what don't work, and you do something different. And maybe the next thing you do don't necessarily work. You know what I'm saying? But you just got to play, see what makes sense to you.
And when it works and it's beautiful, man, you roll with it. I want to start doing like a quarterly or monthly deal with Junior from JMG Reptiles. I don't know if you follow him, big hognose guy. William Philippek, if you don't know him yet, really great guy from the St. Louis area. And Mike Schultz, guy I just discussed. Mike Schultz is very opinionated, and he'll say what's on his mind. I'll hold my tongue sometimes. So, like, sometimes he'll say things that maybe I could or should say, but I won't say a lot of times. Like, I might straddle the fence on certain conversations, but I don't think putting dirty laundry or behind-the-scenes conversations on these is ever really a good thing. I think there's some things that are just meant to keep in the group and shouldn't be put on these, and that's tough, man. Like, we have a lot of conversations outside of podcasting, and we want to incorporate some in. And like I say, I will sometimes. I just keep it really vague on who the actual people in the story are, but I tell the actions of the story. And if people know that person, have heard that story, they'll know what I'm talking about. But like, not all these stories are mine to share. I'm glad that they shared it with me in the first place, but I would hate to lose a good conversation in a show for fear of me repeating something on a podcast I shouldn't repeat.
Yeah, 100%.
But we're just talking about how to be a podcaster now for an hour and a half. You got some animal stuff lined up? You want to shoot some? You want to dabble in that? I don't know if you want to call it in 3 minutes or not.
Yeah, I am gonna probably call it in 3 minutes just because I got to get up early as fuck for work. But we definitely got to do a round 2 and maybe more after that. But we definitely got to run it back for real, because I did have some shit about animals I want to talk about too. But
I'm sorry.
Just let the conversation go where it goes.
Yeah, no, and I'm 100%. We'll sit down again, man. Like you said, we sat down 2 Atlanta shows ago. You're the reason that. And the sad thing is, Chris, Snakes and the Fat Man, me and him go back years. I've always wanted to do a podcast with him, even if it's just one episode. And like some reason, like I don't like asking for it. Like, but you playing middleman on that, I think was great because I think it was a fun conversation. I got that little clip in the parking lot with the cop, which I thought was hilarious. I loved everything about it.
That was
so
great.
Like that was a moment that wouldn't have happened if you didn't stop. And like I said, I appreciate that. I could have done it on my own, but you did it for me, and I think we're all better off because of it.
Yeah, that was a good episode, man. I'm definitely glad y'all was able to make it happen too, for sure.
It was fun. But no, like you said, I talked to MJ about this a lot. I love working with other podcasters. Like, I love the space that MJ has for me. I love the Friday slot. I love doing the other Fridays with Junior when I don't have my show. I love co-hosting with Junior. I go way back with him, but like, I like getting out there. Like, I want to talk to other podcasters, and, sometimes it's just like a Q&A back and forth of like talking about what our product is, like, what our messaging is, like, what can we do to be better at doing this? I think we all benefit to talk to each other, and, the tough love in that conversation. I've had this with a lot of podcasters, but just because you can set up a camera and talk for 2 hours, it doesn't mean this was meant for you. Some people fall off, but I want to see everybody succeed, but you got to figure out what your brand is and lean into it. A lot of people come on here trying to act like somebody else, and that is not a good product for you.
100%. Like you can only do that shit for so long.
Yeah, no. But no, this was good. Like I said, I enjoyed our conversation when we got alone for a minute there. It was just very random too, man. Like we just kind of cornered each other and had like a real conversation. But I dig that, man. Like it was, you know, like I said, I love talking to people. That's the best thing about podcasting because, you know, I'm sure you're the same way, but like these conversations are genuine. You know, maybe some of these should have been private conversations between us. No one actually needed to listen to this shit today. But like, you know, I like that genuine, just freestyling and just talking whatever the conversation is and being, you know, real with each other. Like I really do want to see everyone succeed. People are going to fail without us. Like, and that goes for breeding, that goes for podcasting. Like, even if one of us is a good role model for somebody, it doesn't mean they're going to make it. So, you know, I like to keep it positive and just give everyone a fighting chance because I'm not necessarily going to make or break you. You're going to make or break yourself. But like I said, it makes for a better conversation when you're real with somebody. I'm not really one to sugarcoat it. I've told a couple of people that, you know, maybe this isn't right for them. Like, not being an asshole, but like, and I've even told them that with snake stuff, man. I'm like, hey, man, maybe this isn't right for you. But I don't know. I mean, you can let people putter along for another 2-3 years and waste their time, or you can just let them know what's up and maybe real. It's better off. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I feel like people like the natural flow of the conversation. Like we was talking about at the show. Like for any given episode, I'll have like some things that I want to hit on and whatnot. And I may get to it, may not get to it. Tonight's a perfect example because I would much prefer letting it go with the flow of the conversation. If we get to some of that like pre-planned stuff or the topics that I went into the conversation wanting to hit on, then we get to it. But if not, it is what it is. You know what I mean? It just
always have those questions lined up for me, but I'll just tell you right now, we could sit down for 3-4 hours any given day, and I don't think we will shut the fuck up the entire time because I don't shut the fuck up. Like I said, I don't talk a lot on my program. You know, I'm guiding people. So like, you know, sometimes going on these other podcasts where I get to be the star of the show, I guess is the way of putting it. It's nice. I want to talk a little bit. I want longer answers sometimes. On mine, man, like I said, I'm short and sweet, and I try to keep it short and sweet. Like, it might be my show, but in that moment, it's not my show, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
But I'll let you wrap it up. Am I allowed to plug what I do? I know I said Friday 5,000 times.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we need to do this again.
For sure.
Just us, one-on-one. But I do every Friday on the Trap Talk Network. If it's not my time slot, I work with Junior. He does his, I think it's called Crazy for Colubrids. I might be wrong about that. But every Friday, I like to get rolling a little earlier. I think it's like maybe 6 or 7 p.m. Eastern time. Juniors, we start a little later, but man, some of the junior podcasts are into 4-hour podcasts, and it's like midnight before we get off sometimes. So I like the earlier time slot because no one's staying up to midnight doing this with us. But no, I'm going to try to do a lot of more work. And like I said, I'm going to move around the industry. I want to talk to different people and like different podcasters. You know, I'm a big community-based guy, and I always have been. And like I said, I want to see everyone succeed. I don't ever want to be limited to a conversation, I guess is the way of putting it. So like I said, if you want to come check it out every Friday. I'm messing around, a lot of lives, and don't cancel me, guys. I say some fucked up shit. Don't cancel me. That's all I ask.
Cool, man. It's been a blast, man. Definitely glad you can make it. Definitely looking forward to doing it again in the not too distant future, man. We definitely got to get round 2. Anytime you want to come on, man, definitely I'm totally open to it. Appreciate everybody sticking through with us tonight, man. But that's gonna do it for tonight's episode. We did rebrand, right? Because it was gonna be Clutch Conversations, and I messaged Matt, and he was like, "Yeah, shoot me the link." And so I was like, "All right." So I flipped it to Double Clutch because you know me and Matt do the Double Clutch.
Yeah.
And then I also dropped the link in our Patreon too. So we rebranded tonight. It was supposed to be Clutch Conversations. You guys did not get Clutch Conversations tonight, but you did get Double Clutch. You know what I mean? And so appreciate y'all rocking with us tonight, man. That's gonna be it for tonight. Big shout out to my lovely wife, Takara. Thank y'all for coming out. Be blessed. Peace.
With Mike and Mac, we lead the way. In the reptile world, we're here to stay. Double clutch where passion meets. From the start to the top, you can't be beat. Double clutch with Mike and Mac. Double clutch, it's very exact. Double clutch, we lead the pack. Double clutch. that, we lead the way. In the reptile world, we're here to stay. Double clutch where passion meets. From the start to the top, we can't be beat. Double clutch, with Mike and Matt. Double clutch, it's where it's at. Double clutch, we lead the pack. Double clutch, always on track. Double clutch, always on track. With Mike and Matt, we lead the way. In the reptile world, we're here to stay. Double clutch, where passion meets. From the start to the top, we can't be beat. Double clutch,